Hare Krishna. Dharma. What is Dharma? Generally, Dharma is considered to be as religion. Hindu, Muslim, Christianity, Sikh Dharma, Muslim Dharma, Christian Dharma. All over the world, there are many religions. So people ask question, why so many religions have to be there? And why there should be so many literatures for it? We know dharmasya yina vashubi samana. There is common activities between human being and animal. Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha. So eating, sleeping, mating, defending are common between human beings and animals. What is difference between an animal and human being is only dharma. If one animal is attacking another animal, nobody tells that is adharma. That is their way of life. If a human being does not follow traffic, they'll put fine for him. But if an animal doesn't follow traffic signal, police cannot put fine. So dharma is actually meant for human beings. Dharma is not meant for animals. So, but we see that the religious heads of any religion, at least in Kali Yuga, they don't follow properly the principles given in their religious books. Like in Quran or in Bible, there is no much mentioning about animal killing. Srila Prabhupada, our Acharya, when he had gone to the Western countries, used to ask one common question to everyone. He used to ask, if you say you are a Christian, if you are claiming to be follower of Jesus Christ, then why don't you follow the 10 commandments? First commandment is thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not kill means you have converted that as thou shalt not murder. And you are keeping on maintaining slaughterhouses. For maintenance, we don't have to have such elaborate arrangement or illegal means like slaughterhouses are started by modern civilization with all modern equipments. The reality is there is no difference between uncivilized tribal taking a stone and throwing it on an animal and killing, and we in a sophisticated way killing and putting in a nice decorated plate and put a fork to it and eat the same thing. Civilization means that you have to be civilized in your habits. Some tribal person living in the forest, so he would have taken a stone and killed an animal in the early days. But if a civilized person, after knowing agriculture, knows how to produce grains, how to have nice milk, how to take nice milk products, after that again he is going with sophisticated machinery and doing the same activity, then what is the difference between a civilized person and uncivilized person? So here dharma comes into picture. When we are discussing with any educated person who has little atheistic sense, or he may not be really convinced by anyone, the first thing they will ask is, what is the guarantee that whatever religious books are saying is truth? So if you know that in Vedic knowledge, everything has a reasoning, not that you have to believe blindly. Like our solar eclipse, lunar eclipse we were discussing in few classes earlier, that they are calculating and giving the same way how the modern science is also giving. So So you cannot say that whatever are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, or Jyotirveda or Ayurveda are all false, and whatever we just read in our school books, only they are right. Whatever we are studying in our school books also are changing day by day. The theory of evolution by Darwin previously refuted one more theory. Darwin also very carefully presented it as theory of evolution. He gave a lot of explanations on theory of evolution of species growing from aquatics coming up to human being. But he was very careful not to give anything after human being. He avoided. Actually, he has taken the idea from our Vedas only. In the Vedic literature, it is mentioned Jalaja Navalakshani. There are 9 lakh species in water. Pakshinam Dashalakshanam. There are 10 lakh species in the birds. Like this, 84 lakh species are mentioned in Padma Purana. And Padma Purana or our Vedic literature doesn't stop only up to human species. It says that even if you go to Brahmaloka, you have to come back to this world. But if you go back to your original spiritual body, then you don't have to come back to this world. Abrahma bhuvanan loka punaravartino Arjuna mam upetyanta kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. So you don't have to take this cycle of birth and death. The cycle of birth and death is like a big, huge cycle. You may become a fish, and after that one by one, you become a bird. From bird to again, like from there again to reptiles or all different species we grow. Actually, systematically a fish, from a fish species, then slowly it becomes a bigger aquatic animal, then it can become a human being. Like that, there are so many ways of transformation from one species to one species. Dharma means religion only in dictionary, but in Vedic literature Dharma has even a bigger meaning. Dharma is occupational duty of every living entity. We also create Dharma in this world in connection with our occupational duties. Occupational duty in the Vedic age, there were Kshatriyas, there were Brahmanas, there were Vaishyas, there were Shudras. So everybody had their occupational duties. A Brahmana used to do Patana, Bhatana, Yajana, Yajana. He used to study and used to teach. He used to accept Dhana and he used to also give Dhana. He used to perform Yajna. These were his occupational duties. So the Kshatriya used to collect tax. Vaishyas used to do cultivation. Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijyam, Vaishya, Karma, Swabhavajam. And the Shudras, they used to just assist the other 3 classes of society. So this is also called as Varnashrama Dharma. The Brahmanas, the Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are Varnas. And ashramas are Brahmacharya, Grahastha ashrama, Vanapastha ashrama and Sannyasa ashrama. Ashrama means a place where spiritual cultivation is done. You may be a sannyasi or you may be a grahastha. If you are cultivating spiritual knowledge, then it is called ashram. So Varnashrama Dharma is finally meant for Samsiddhir Haritoshanam. Everybody in Varnashrama are trying to satisfy the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So Dharma, according to dictionary meaning, somebody may change their religion from Hindu to Muslim or Muslim to Christian. then does the dharma of the living entity change? No. Actually, even Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, according to Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, are not actually done by the human being. They are Chatur Varnam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Krishna creates this Varnashrama based on their Guna and Karma. You cannot become a Brahmana just by birth. You should have that qualities also. Narada Muni has very nicely explained that if a Kshatriya is having Brahmana quality, he should not be considered as a Kshatriya, but he should be considered as a Brahmana only. If a Brahmana is having Kshatriya quality, then he should be considered as a Kshatriya. King Rishabhadeva had 100 sons. Among them, Bharat Maharaj, he took up the duties and he became the king of the whole earth. That's how this India is called as Bharata Varsha, named after Bharata. He had 9 more brothers, Navayogendras. They became saintly persons. So we see in the history of Bhagavatam, a Kshatriya son can become a Brahmana, saintly person. Somebody can rule as Kshatriya. Somebody can become a Vaishya also. So it's based on their work. So you have to follow some or the other dharma to progress in your spiritual consciousness. Dharma also means the quality which cannot be separated. What is dharma of the living entity? For example, water dharma is liquidity. The sugar dharma is sweet. The chilies, their dharma is pungent. They are hot in nature. Salt is salty. Somebody brings us chili and they say this is sweet chili. Fire nature is to be hot. There cannot be cold fire. So the dharma of every living entity is also like that, a quality of serving others. We have a quality to serve the Supreme Lord. Mukti actually means our constitutional position to serve the Lord. Mukti hitva anyata rupam swarupena avastitihi. Our real swarupa is to serve the Lord. When we come to this world, we forget that. And we start serving some animals, some other human beings, thinking that we are serving God. Krishna came to establish Dharma. In the Bhagavad Gita, he has mentioned very clearly, Dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He is coming to establish Dharma. And after coming to establish Dharma, we have seen very clearly in Mahabharata that Krishna is cheating. Krishna is cheating and killing people. So people, they criticize Krishna. Even the followers of Krishna are criticized. That Krishna is a cheater and you are also cheaters' followers. No, Krishna is not a cheater. He has come to establish Dharma. Dharma stands on 4 legs. That's how we avoid 4 sinful activities. The first sinful activity we avoid is not killing any animals. Not killing animals is established on Dharma's one very important leg, which is Ahimsa. So why do we follow Ahimsa as part of Dharma? Because if something is paining us, we don't want to give pain to others. That is Dharma. If something is paining us, but we say there is no soul, I don't believe in God, and we kill animals, that is not called dharma. So dharma stands on ahimsa. Dharma stands on satya, truthfulness. So this truthfulness is destroyed when people gamble. Gambling is a very big addiction, including some sports which involve in addiction of so much of addiction they get into that they cannot give up this addiction and they lose a lot of money. This gambling is also very dangerous, and that's how dharma, a person who is following dharma doesn't involve in meat eating or gambling. The next principle of dharma is tapasya. If you are involved in too much of intoxication, either in movies or your internet, or even it can be non-God connecting materials of reading, it can be novels. Actually, you should read everything and connect it to God. You can write everything and connect it to God. But in this disconnected world, filled with hypocrisy, if you are trying to connect something to Krishna, people will only cheat it. They will cheat us and they will also make us feel that Krishna is a cheater. Actually, they are cheaters. So we have to be careful not to get cheated by intoxication. There will be very beautiful story written, and in that story everything will make you forget Krishna. So what is the use of hearing a story which has no connection with God? So Krishna is a dharma samsthapanarthaya, he comes. But why actually he does adharma? So let us know where this kind of adharma is done in Mahabharata. They quote Karna being killed by Arjuna. So according to the dharma of fighting, in the battlefield, if the one person is fighting on a chariot and his chariot gets destroyed, he has to come down and fight. If a person is having two weapons and that one weapon falls down, the other person also has to throw one weapon. If the two weapons are not there, he is not having any weapon, he should also come and fight without weapon. This is fighting, even dharma in fighting. Not like nowadays they go and shoot from backside and kill them. Such kind of things are not allowed in the Vedic way of fighting. If you see, Kurukshetra war is called Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetra. It was a Dharma Yuddha. It was not based on cheating. But we see Krishna is cheating. It appears to be that Krishna is cheating. Krishna cannot cheat anybody. He is samoham sarvabhuteshu. Na dveshti na priyaha. Then when Krishna is ordering Arjuna to kill Karna, is it adharma? No, it is not adharma. When Karna actually hinted to Duryodhana that this Draupadi has been defeated, we have won her. Her husbands have lost her in the gambling match. So bring her to this place, to the assembly, and make her naked. So it was Karna's plan because he was insulted and he was not allowed to marry her. Draupadi wanted to marry Arjuna. And she played a trick because she was a Kshatriya's daughter. She knew how to deal with the situation. She told when Karna came for also Swayamvar and he was contesting, she knew Karna was very powerful, but she wanted to marry Arjuna. So she said, I will not marry somebody who is coming from a different class. She wanted to marry only a Kshatriya or a Brahmana. So she rejected him, so he wanted to take revenge. If Karna wanted to take revenge on Draupadi and put her into such a kind of shameful condition. So Krishna kept it in mind that whoever have insulted Draupadi, they'll all be punished. So not only Karna, the whole Kauravas, everybody were finished. So in war, there is no justice, especially when you are a sinner. So although it appears to be that Karna is a nice person, but he was not following dharma in trying to respect women as much as he had to do. Karna is always known to be very ideal. He was a person who was doing charity. But in this case, actually he failed. That's why he was killed. The laws of dharma are very stringent. It will not spare anybody, even if you would have done a lot of pious deeds. So if you see like this, Krishna is not cheating. Even when Dharmaraj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, he was told to go and tell lie to Dronacharya, because Dronacharya cannot be defeated until he hears something about his son. So Krishna planned and told Yudhishthir Maharaj, who was known as a very truthful person and a moralist, to go and say Dronacharya that your son is died. So he felt, how can I say a lie? I am a truthful person. So for this, he had to see hell. Generally people think that he told a lie, he is not a liar, so he had to see some hellish experience. No. Actually he disobeyed Krishna. Krishna has come there to establish dharma and to remove adharma. Just like when you go to agricultural field, all the unwanted plants are removed and the right plants are planted. Similarly, when Krishna had come to Kurukshetra, it was Dharma Kshetra, he is come there to remove all the dirty crops and put new real dharma. So although it appears to be that he is following adharma, how can a dharma giver do adharma? Krishna is considered to be always by Kali Yuga people as is a mischief monger. But Lord Ramachandra is considered to be very truthful person. But sometimes they ask doubt, why even Lord Ramachandra killed Vali by standing behind a tree? So this many have answers also. Vali had a boon that if any enemy comes in front of him, he can take away that power. Even Ravana was very fearful of Vali. So he didn't attack Vali so easily. He was friend. He had made friendship with him. He had that power. Actually, nobody can take power from God. So that is not the main reason for Lord Rama to kill Vali from backside. Vali and Sugriva both were brothers. But Vali had taken away Sugriva's wife and misbehaved exactly like a Vanara, like an animal. So he was killed like an animal is killed from behind. Animals are killed in the forest from behind. But if you see a human being, you can fight face to face. So we cannot understand dharma from our own way. Dharma has to be understood by Mahajanayena Gatasya Panta. Dharma can be established and followed, and we also have to follow by Mahajanas who have established Dharma. Our Acharya Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the Western world, although people were so much addicted to sense gratification, he never compromised on these principles. So people think that Hare Krishna who are chanting, they are following principles very strictly, but whereas in the 1970s some hippies, they were all drug addicts. No, Srila Prabhupada never encouraged drug addicts to continue taking drugs. If you are whatever you are in your past, but when you come to a guru, you have to give up your sinful activities and you have to follow dharma. This is dharma. So we have to follow dharma, and we cannot do any cheating business in the way of dharma. Actually, if you see like that in our border, Indian borders, the other country soldiers come and fight, and here our soldiers go and kill them, and they are awarded. But the same soldier who has been awarded, if he goes back to his village and there he had some personal fight with some of his neighbors, and if he kills them, that is considered to be adharma. So dharma means, even in social sense, dharma is which has to be authorized. Some foolish people, they say Krishna has told to kill Arjuna without dharma. So we can also kill our relative or friends or somebody who cannot go well with us. Krishna is Arjuna's spiritual master, and Krishna is not an ordinary person. He is an authority of dharma. He was accepted by Vyasa and other great rishis. Not that we have a fight and ordinarily we fight with each other and quote Bhagavad Gita and say Bhagavad Gita, they are encouraging fighting, we'll also, if there is no problem, we can also fight. So we have to know how to follow dharma, not as a sentiment but as a reality. So when we are following dharma, we should know whether we are coming up to devotion. Otherwise, whatever you follow dharma, it has no use. People can follow just as a ritual, going to church or to a temple, and they can come back. But if you are not giving any devotion to God, it becomes useless. So we have to follow dharma the way our previous acharyas have taught us. One way of following dharma is, we should know that dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The whole Vedic literatures, they teach dharma, some religious principles they follow. So they follow that so that they get some sense gratification, they get some money, and they go to God, please God give me daily bread, or they pray, please give me some good wealth. But if it fails, then they reject God. So actually dharma, artha, kama, when you are enjoying too much of sense gratification, the Vedic literature finally says that you have to give up all those things and take up to devotion to the Lord. That's why bhakti or prema is the panchama purushartha. The four arthas are dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but bhakti is above that. So dharma is established by Krishna personally. He is inviting us, don't stay in this world. He is inviting us to come back to Him. That's why after teaching us Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, or any kind of those things, Krishna finally told, you give up that. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. Even our dharmas, we actually have lot of rinas, indebtedness when we come to this material world. We have some responsibility when we come to this world. Every living entity who comes to this material world has responsibility, because we get lot of facilities without payment, like sunlight. Deva Rishi Bhutatma, we are indebted to Devas. They are giving us like sunlight, moonlight. Because of moonshine we get vegetables. So we have to have responsibility to pay back. We have to perform yajnas. We have to give them payment. Deva, rishis like Vyasa, Valmiki, they have given us a lot of literatures. Even cows, Bhuta means other living entities like cows, they give us milk. So we have to have indebtedness. That is a basic human responsibility. Whereas nowadays they kill animals saying that they have no soul. That is adharmic. So people who are in this world who are not following spirituality have to follow these principles more vigorously. They are responsible for it. But when you are following spirituality, you don't have to go and follow each and every dharma, even family dharma. Not that everybody has to follow family dharma in the house. He can take up to spiritual life, just like a soldier. A soldier, his family life for him is secondary. His primary life is fighting for the nation. Somebody shared a story about a captain. After his marriage, his wife was upset with him that he goes away from his house every time whenever he gets a call. And every 2 months he goes there, he is in the battlefield. So his wife had a hard time to get adjusted with him. And later she realized, I am the second priority, his nation fighting is the first priority. So he has Desha Dharma, he has to fight for the nation. So she accepted in a hard way. So after they had children, she got used to it and she was talking to him. Even in the base, army base, they call family. So their life was going on. So one day she got a call from her husband and he asked, how are you and all, and then he asked, where are children? So they were playing somewhere. Then she could not find them. She told, you call me after you go back to the base. And after that, after a few minutes from that time, her friends came and knocked the door and told, Captain is no more there now. So she had shock of her life because she had just spoken few minutes earlier. So actually what had happened is there was a surprise attack and he fought also with them vigorously and then he was killed. So she had to go to the airport to receive her husband's dead body. So she was crying. This is the last time she will be seeing her husband. So she had this fear in her initial days in marriage time that she cannot give up her husband. But when she understood that husband is meant for serving the nation, her attachment to her husband, she continued. Although there were some times she used to go and come back, it was continuing. After her final rites of her husband, many people advised, you are still young, why don't you get married? She said, no, he is always in my heart, I cannot give him up. So she brought up her children and she wants her children also to go and fight. So this is the military spirit, the Kshatriya spirit. There are 4 classes of Varnashrama, they are all gentlemen. Janmana Jayate Shudra Samskarat Bhavet Dvija. So by samskara they become Dvija, and Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. By understanding Brahman Paramatma Bhagavan. So the first part of Brahmana training, when they know, that is Brahmana. So like this, there are various ways to come closer to God. So when you are trying to know God, so family, society becomes secondary. Sometimes you will be criticized that why the spiritualists are not actually understanding what is family life. No, family life is not condemned. In fact, this whole Varnashrama Dharma is meant to have only attachment for Vishnu. You don't have to become a sannyasi. Although in the past, people used to, the Varnashrama Dharma had Vanaprastha Ashrama. After their 50 years old, they used to go out to some pilgrimage, and after going all the pilgrimage, it's for them training to take sannyasa. And then when husband get trained, he used to send his wife to stay with elder sons, and then he used to accept sannyas. But in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to follow this kind of strict principles of vows. of brahmacharya or grahastha or sannyasa. So it is advised by Lord Brahma that you can stay in your own place, sthane stitaha. You don't have to become a sannyasi, but you can serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead by hearing the words of a pure devotee and tanuvan manobihi, by your body, by your mind. You hear him, then you can defeat the Lord who is not defeated by anybody. The Lord is called Ajitaha. But you can defeat that Lord also by serving him. How can you serve him? By serving the spiritual master. So this understanding of dharma is not so clear. They think that there are a lot of Christians, they are being converted, or a lot of Hindus, they are being converted, or Muslims, they are converting others. Such kind of feelings. If you convert from one religion to other religion, but you have no love for God, what is the use? Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshaja. If your dharma is to give bhakti, so either you are in Muslim dress or Christian dress, you should have love for God. That is real dharma. All other principles are subordinating that real principle. So your love for Lord Jagannath is so much that you don't have to be a Muslim or a Christian. You have to follow Lord Jagannath. In fact, in the recent Rath Yatra, when Rath Yatra was not happening, in the petitioners, one Muslim devotee also of Lord Jagannath filed that there should be Rath Yatra happening. In Tirupati, in 1980s or somewhere in that time, one Muslim family went and met the executive officer, and they were very busy, so they could not meet them. So they were told to wait, and they were very irritated. They were busy with some other work. When the peon went and told there is somebody waiting for them, he told why I should meet them, I am very busy. They told, no sir, some Muslim devotee has come of Lord Balaji, would like to meet you. So he told, okay, send him. For 2 minutes I will talk and send him away. But this person actually who had come was not an ordinary person. He told that executive officer that his family are Lord Venkateshwara devotees, Balaji devotees, from many generations. From many generations they were devotees of Lord Balaji. And his great-grandfather had prayed to Lord Balaji that he will offer him 108 golden petals for the Pushparchana, for serving to the Lord. But he could not fulfill it, but he tried his best and he passed away, which his son also worked very hard, and then next his son, and his turn had come, whereby great hard work he had actually accumulated that golden flowers, which he had come to offer to Lord Balaji. So when the officers there all started hearing about such a nice contribution to Lord Balaji, they also had tears in their eyes. They accepted that and they told they are just government officers and they will try their best to accommodate it. And in later few meetings, they introduced a special seva. I think every Tuesday morning, a special seva was introduced to offer these golden petals to Lord Balaji, which happens seva even now. So it can be a Muslim devotee or Christian devotee. The Lord doesn't discriminate. He sees how much devotion you are having. The same Lord Balaji is Lord Venkateshwara. He is the same Badrinath, he is the same Dwarkanath. So if we don't make any discrimination between the deities are always the same. He is the same Krishna. So we also are having a lot of programs like Janmashtami, we celebrate Krishna's birth, Rath Yatra, Rathas are pulled. So there are a lot of varieties of worship for the Lord. But it's the same Lord, and we have to connect to the Lord with the same devotion. The Lord is not attracted by external appearance. He sees how much internally you are connected. That internal connection is dharma. So if you are connected to the worldly life, that is also called dharma. But the real dharma is parodharma. Parodharma is to get connection, relation with God. So we will discuss more on this subject. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath. If you see any of the modern enthusiastic people, they try to motivators, they try to motivate people whenever people become very dull. They want to enthuse people. Come on, get up, wake up, do something in the world. Why are you so dull? So they are called as motivators. So these motivators are very enthusiastic and they give a lot of enthusiasm to people. Suppose somebody is losing, they all unite and they say, yeah, you can do, you are not failure. Even Japanese, and they also, I think, they are in sports and all, they all come. Suppose somebody fails and in cricket, gone, now this fellow will go away. But in some places, good motivators are there. They motivate. It's a team spirit actually. They make even a small child. I have seen one small clip somebody had sent. One big sofa. The child has to jump. So the child will go and jump and sit on the sofa. But other children will be jumping. So this child is not able to jump. So all the children come together and say, no, you can do, like this, they'll be clapping. So they'll all be clapping together, yes. It'll all become so much, they create that feeling for them. The child finally jumped actually. He failed one time, even more, no, you can do. Again they jumped, second time, third time, he actually succeeded. So this motivation are very good actually to do some work. You achieve something. That's an achievement. So when you achieve something, it gives a kind of success spirit. That spirit of enthusiasm. Yes, I can do it. I am successful. There is one photograph of one monkey holding a big stick and the lion is sleeping. So it is going to beat that. So above that they have put a statement. We don't know which motivational speech person has inspired this monkey to do this. So the motivation speaker is very good until he is inspiring it to go in a right direction. So one of the ignorance of this modern civilization is to motivate them that you are this body. It's the biggest demotivation to know that you are this body. If you realize you are this body, you will be dying every moment. Because body is dying every moment, you keep on dying every moment. So the first ignorance is that one only in the Mahabharata 43rd chapter. Accepting the body to be the self. This is one of the biggest ignorance. Among the 5 kinds of ignorance, the first ignorance is accepting the body to be the self. It's the biggest demotivating factor to feel accepting the body as the self. So by surrendering to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, it can immediately drive away this kind of ignorance. It's not an ordinary contribution of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, which we are getting from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. It is flowing down. It's not an ordinary thing. There are liberations explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, what level of liberation anybody can get. By practicing spirituality, they'll get different levels of liberation, sarupya, samipya, all those things. But in everywhere, the central point is my liberation. I will be liberated. I am going to be having a four-handed form. I will be having opportunity to do this. So everywhere, that personal aspect is not compromised. So in our Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, that personal aspect, in all Vaishnava Sampradayas, even in Ramanuja Sampradaya, the highest goal of spirituality is what? Sharanagati. They also have Sharanagati. They talk like how Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given Sharanagati principle. Shri Vaishnavism is based on Sharanagati. Vishishta Advaita is the full philosophy, but the whole Divya Prabandham of Alvars, what and all they have written, it finally talks about Sharanagati, surrender. So such kind of surrender can be done only by understanding that you are not this body. Accepting the body to be the self is a most degraded ignorance. One more kind of motivation the motivational speakers they give is, you can enjoy this life. You can enjoy this life. So in one morning walk conversation, Prabhupada, they are saying that you should know that death, disease, these are all part of life. So Srila Prabhupada says, so you enjoy? You enjoy? No, but they don't like it. But they don't like it. Now even if it is part of life, then you start enjoying it. Just like Mangalarti. As a conditioned soul, we don't like Mangalarti early in the morning, 4 o'clock. But we start liking it because that is part of our life. We should start liking it. Similarly, why don't you start liking disease? Srila Prabhupada, they will surrender to disease, they will surrender to misery, but they will not surrender to Krishna. So that is their disease. That is, they are ready to surrender to misery. They are not ready to surrender to the spiritual principle. To people who are really following, really trying to help spirituality, nobody wants to follow. They always want to follow, I am so much of suffering. I am so much of in misery. And that misery is all right because that is part of my life. This is the biggest ignorance. So what is that? Making material sense gratifications one standard of enjoyment. Because what is your standard of anything? Just like there's a standard of living. You see what this world has made. If you have a good car, then you are a rich man. If you have a beautiful wife, then you are a fortunate man. Okay, maybe that is also okay. But they create everything, the basis as sense gratification. That's why in marriages are not sustaining. Families are not sustainable. In the Vedic civilization, your relationship is not that you give me sense gratification, then I will stay with you. In family life also, nowadays it has come up to an extent that you don't satisfy me, divorce. A wife or husband, both demand the same thing. It's no more a kind of relationship, understanding, feeling. They are arguing on it. They can't give me this much also. So better give up. So they don't praise you. They don't praise you. So the girl has to praise the boy. You are so nice. And they have made it as a policy. This even motivational speakers and all, they will say, you should praise each other. You should say sorry to each other. The idea is what? You should have proper sense gratification to each other without any objection. No kind of problem should come. It should go on like that. Both should be having a very kind, smooth sense gratification. For that any objection, you please set right it. Please go and say sorry. So, but that their standard is different. Their standard is, you should say sorry. There should be no compromise on sense gratification. Because if you are compromising sense gratification, what is life? Life is meant for enjoyment. This is their standard. So this is mentioned in Mahabharata as a second kind of ignorance. Making sense gratifications one standard of enjoyment. One standard, this is my standard. Just like we feel, आपका क्या स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग है? मैं तो हमेशा अपार्टमेंट में रहता हूँ और मेरा कार ये है, ये मेरा स्टैंडर्ड है. So then suppose he is now with this COVID-19 crisis and their car they cannot afford and they have to take a bike. A person who is generally little God conscious and सब भगवान का है, क्या कर सकते हैं. Even in there was an artificial famine in 1950s or 40s. It was created artificial famine in India, and this artificial famine made so many people hungry. So an American gentleman had come to India that time, and he was seeing the Indians, they were dying without food. He said if this would have happened in our country, there would have been revolution, theft, stealing, violence. But here they are saying God will take care and they are dying also. What kind of country they are? So this point is considered to be the point of ignorance for politicians. They say Indians, they are very ignorant because of God consciousness. They are not progressing because of God consciousness. In business economics, this is one subject. This is taught in colleges. In business economics, one of the point they discuss is how Indians have God consciousness, being God consciousness, how they could not progress. Because they are very satisfied. Being satisfied is considered to be ignorance for modern education. That's why our spirituality and material life are total opposite to each other. In spirituality we talk about satisfaction of the heart, our mind to be peaceful. Even if our don't get sense gratification, that's all right. We tolerate. Because finally we know we are not this body. And satisfaction to this body is not all in all. If you are chanting Hare Krishna mantra for 1 year, you have to see how much my ignorance that I am this body has gone. That is what is a test. And what is this next one they are saying? One standard of enjoyment not based on sense gratification. So if you are Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followers, this should have gone, because this goes away. So this confusion can be removed by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. What is this confusion and ignorance? Making material sense gratification one's standard of enjoyment. Our standard of enjoyment cannot be sense gratification, because sense gratification, even in material platform, there are 3 modes of material nature, and these 3 modes of material nature keep on acting on us. And in these 3 modes of material nature, what is the most peaceful mode of material nature? Sattva guna, mode of goodness. So when you are in mode of goodness, at least you will come to know that sense gratification I don't require. Yesham antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam. So there only your dvanda moha nirmukta will come. Dvanda. You are having duality in life. What is good and bad, cold and heat, honor and dishonor. So these are the things we will be having in mode of ignorance. So even if you are not a spiritualist, if you are in mode of goodness, you will come to know this is not right. So how can sense gratification become a standard of discussion for anybody? That's how people, when you insult somebody, you have insulted me. That is my standard is what? You are insulting me. I am very important for me. Yeah, you are very important for Krishna, not this body. Your body is getting insulted. If you don't get insulted, that is my standard of happiness is not based on somebody insulting my body. What is this body after all? This body is 34 years old, 40 years old model. So this body can be insulted. Somebody is dark, somebody is bright, somebody is thin, somebody is fat, somebody is tall, somebody is short. That cannot be our sense gratifications platforms, our standard of feelings for our body. When we are chanting Hare Krishna mantra, devotee should know that my bodily platform, if it is affecting my spirituality, then I should really take seriousness. Just like Yukta Ahara Viharasya. Why we have to take care of the body? We require our body energy levels to practice Krishna consciousness. So that is important. But it cannot be my platform. Too much conscious of the body. They feel that is their standard. You see, in India, these things are not taken very seriously. But they suppose in the Western world, certain things they say, oh, you are not a civilized man. That's how they teach in convent school, no? Your tie is not proper. An Englishman means, a British man means, he is very much formally, properly dressed. That's called Englishman. After that he will eat pig and cow also. But he is a gentleman means the way he is dressed. The way he is properly dressed and ironed clothes. And that is their standard. Yeah, definitely we also have to have a pressed clothes. But that is not our standard of character. That is not the way people see you are very educated or not. The Vedic life, they will wear one dhoti and one chaddar on the top. And the way they speak is based on jnana, knowledge. Knowledge is their ornament. Their character is based on knowledge. Their character is not only external dressing. External we also have. We have both inside and external. Suchi we also maintain. That Suchi is for practicing bhakti. Our Suchi is not for showing that I am just a gentleman. So this is a very big ignorance, and this ignorance can be removed by accepting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. The third one is the continuation of that, being anxious due to material identification. Very anxious, very, very anxious. That's how people get attached to material positions. Upadhi. And our bhakti is sarva upadhi vinirmuktam. You are anxious due to material identification. I am so and so. Everything is identified on some material identifications. You identify with I am this, I am that, I am that. So there is a difference between identifying myself as body with my position or identifying as Krishna's servant. Prabhupada wanted devotees to become Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya or Brahmana for training others. It's Daivi Varnashrama Dharma. Prabhupada wanted to introduce. So any service we do, it's all right. Suppose I am cooking nicely, people come and say, Prabhu, you are nicely cooking, very nice, tasty. That's okay, accept it. So that's all right in social life. Suppose somebody will say you are singing nicely, that's all right. But don't give too much of identification. So this is a very wrong thing to see only because of my identification, of my position, of little small service I do also because of my identification. Me identifying that I am a great personality. Story of Saubhara Muni. Saubhara Muni was a great yogi, and he, because of his mystic power, he gave shelter to Kaliya snake. He cursed Garuda should not come to that place. That's how Kaliya came to Yamuna. So there he cannot come. Saubhara Muni did a mistake of doing two things. One is giving shelter to a snake like Kaliya, and Kaliya was a venomous serpent. And one more was cursing a pure devotee. So for these two things, although he was sitting below the water in Yamuna river in Vrindavan, one small copulating of a fish he saw, and he remembered sense gratification between man and women. And he came out of the water and he went to a king called Mandata. He was a king of Mathura that time. He went and asked, I want to marry your daughter. The king felt, he's an old man. Can you imagine? If you sit in water for some time, what will happen? You will all get wrinkles, no? Like this. So he is sitting in water for so many years. When he came out, he is not thinking, no, outside social life has its own way. His body and all had full of wrinkles and hanging skin, fragile body with bones come out. The king said, I have 50 daughters, whomever they select you can marry. So he understood. So he, with his mystic power, got such a handsome, beautiful body, and he was standing there. So all the 50 girls decided, I only want to marry him only. With all his mystic power, he had sense gratification with 50 princes, and he had children. And he continued his sense gratification for some long duration of years. Suddenly one day I understood, what happened to me? Why am I here? By the time he has married 50 people and time has gone, actually he is a renunciant. He renounced the world and went to Yamuna to meditate. One Vaishnava Prat brought him to commit sense gratification, and from there he came out and he didn't know what to do. Then he walked to the forest with the wives and everybody got liberation. This is Charitra, history. So, but we should know how, if you identify with anything and he thought himself as a very powerful yogi and he could curse Garuda. So by just identifying with, even as a yogi, with lot of mystic power, what power we are having in this world. After all, we come for a small time and we go away. Why should we identify with our power? So this yogi, Saubhara Muni, he fell down because of this identification. And even with 50 wives, very beautiful princess, they were not ordinary. Mathura king, They were all very pious. He had a lot of children, but it did not give happiness. What happens after that, the next stage? Like how Sabare Muni was thinking. The fourth ignorance is lamenting. The moment you get into sense gratification, you lament. Some nice things would have been done, even spiritually in the past. You can't achieve that. You will start lamenting. Or spiritual or materially also. So always this lamentation is there. For a devotee don't care also. Fifth one is, this is something connected to spiritual contamination. Thinking that there is anything beyond the absolute truth. Athato Brahma Jignasa. We know what is Brahman. After that there is Brahmeti, Paramateti, Bhagavaneti Shabdyate. The Lord is there. But Mayavadam Ashat-shastram, no. What does it make you feel? These are all temporary. Above that I am there. There is something beyond the absolute truth. Beyond Krishna, there is something. One Brahma Jyoti is there. I am that Jyoti. I am that power. So this actually is a very biggest ignorance, thinking that beyond truth, Param Satya, there is one more something truth. So these kind of ignorances, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya eradicate these 5 kinds of ignorance. Whatever one sees or otherwise experiences, one should know to be simply an exhibition of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energy. Everything is a manifestation of Krishna. So Chaitanya Charitamrita says that if you remember Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, these 2 lords, one can get rid of all difficulties in the path of sense gratification. That's why before we start any lecture or anywhere we chant Namo Vishnu Padaya, then Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. The moment you chant Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, all our ignorance are removed. If one patiently hears about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu and their devotees, devotional activities, names, fame and mellows of their transcendental loving exchanges, one will learn the essence of the absolute truth. Therefore, I have described these in Chaitanya Charitamrita with Vastu Tattva Sara, means logic and discrimination. So, there is a lot of logic and discrimination. When we get hurt, we will feel there is no logic why I am suffering. There is a lot of logic. And that logic is explained in Mahabharata as 5 kinds of ignorance. So the more you progress in spirituality, these things should not disturb you. Suppose somebody says, Prabhu, I am chanting, I am a very senior devotee. Senior devotee means you should have less disturbance in these 5 things. This 5 ignorance should be very small. It will be there, we are not purified. But it should be little less. A person who has not progressed also has same ignorance, and we also have little more ignorance. Then what is the use? So justification cannot be taken as an authority for being in ignorance. I want to be in ignorance, so let me justify it. Because of this I am ignorant. Otherwise I will be pure.